It's Trends O'Clock. This is Trends KE with KK Cedric.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Evening, depending on where you are watching us from. Thanks for joining the show. This is Trends KE with me, KK Cedric, on the Alternative Voice. Thank you very much for tuning in once again. And tonight we have an amazing discussion lined up for you. So we are going to talk about mental health and work relations, toxicity, and stuff. So that is generally what we are going to talk about. And something that has motivated this discussion, as you know, on this show, we always talk about things that have been trending throughout the week. So almost for the entire of last week, there was a DJ who apparently committed suicide at his workplace. That's at Capital FM. And then rumors on Twitter, you know, guys on Twitter as always will come up and do their investigations. Twitter DCI, they came up with their own conclusions that this guy died of toxic work relations. And there were several people who have followed up on that subject, including NTV's Amina Abdirabad, though she came up later to defend herself, saying that in case she did anything unknowingly, she said she was sorry, but she said that she has not offended anyone at work knowingly. So, and there's this other lady also from Capital FM who people came out strongly on Twitter saying that she is mistreating her fellow workers at that studio. But the problem with the Twitter and social media is that you are always guilty until proven innocent. So you have to come and prepare yourself. You even don't have that chance of reply, you know. So this discussion, we decided to take it straight to the media, and we have one amazing, beautiful lady on the show tonight whom we are going to have this discussion with. That is the amazing Asasha Elizabeth. My producer is back. Thanks, Don. Asasha, it's nice to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thank you for inviting me, Cedric.
Yeah, so apparently tonight I will be the one doing the asking of questions. I know you are used to asking the questions.
Yes, changing stances and being on the other side of being, how do they call it? Being screamed thoroughly. But,
Yeah, so in case you have also questions, don't be afraid to ask. But yeah, and
yeah,
let's before we get into the discussion about the show tonight, how is work? How is the media generally?
generally, the media is okay. The landscape, it's been really murky the past few months, or let me say the past 2 years. We all know why. It's because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And so many people have lost their job. There's been some retrenchments. Some TV stations have been forced to close down. Just like any other businesses in different industries, some of them, TV stations have opted to be online because it's expensive running a TV station if you cannot really generate enough income to sustain the operations. So we
Yeah.
understand that, and nonetheless, we still try to maneuver around to find our way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to. And talking of all these things that have come up in not only the media but generally businesses and workplaces, people have been retrenched. There are also other stresses that do with work, but Asasha is always this smiley lady. Speaking of mental health and things, so what keeps you going and smiling all the way despite being a youth in Kenya has its challenges as well?
I know there are so many challenges. When we talk of challenges, it's not just about jobs, there are social issues, and that's why we've been witnessing stories of love triangle gone sour, a lot of murder, violence, unexplained shocking acts of violence, suicide, murder, and all that. in our streets, in our homes, at workplaces. So it's not only tied to the work environment. There are personal issues. We are social beings. There are things to do with uh, relationships, not just at work, but even on the other side of the professional veil. So we try to balance between the two. There are different factors that play around. So
Yeah.
whatever happens, myself, I chose to. You must have realized that I've done. I've deliberately focused on mental health reporting, and I've been doing this for the past 2 years because myself, I suffered. I grappled with a mental health disorder for a whole year. So as I speak from not just from personal experience, but also from interacting with these people when I decided to start doing and covering stories of people who have been through traumatic situations in life, or people who are going through mental health conditions.
Yeah, sure. And speaking of you yourself going through a mental health issue, that's a very sensitive topic actually to talk about. But just if you can tell us briefly how you came out of it.
It was really difficult because at that moment in time, I can explain like I was assigned four different uh, psychologists, or I can say professionals in the mental health field. One by my employer, another one by my friends, another one by my family members, and just a close friend also volunteered. But I still felt that it wasn't enough, and I got to a point of harming, self-harming. Yeah, it was that serious. But then later on, I found hope and solace from just a very simple thing. Because all these people, they would talk to me and I'll be like, there's something lacking. Like, why are they trying to compare my situation with another person next door? Yes, we might have gone through the same situation, but my bond with the person that I lost or whatever situation that I'm going through, the emotional attachment I have to it is quite different from the person next door. So later on, I realized, oh, so maybe you could be looking for greater things, and yet there are very small things that can really give you hope and make you feel like indeed you are someone who is valued, and you can still push through right past the difficult situation.
Yeah, sure. Always believing that you can always come out of a situation stronger, but by the time someone is going through something, it's really hard to see beyond that. And that's most specifically what many Kenyan youths are going through. There are so many stresses to do with the financial situations, workplaces, and that's actually the conversation that I want us to get into about workplace relations. And there have been
Mhm.
talk of toxicity mostly in workplaces. Before we talk about how to carry ourselves in how we treat others or how we respond to the way we are being treated,
Mhm.
what is it? What is it with the media? Very many people in the media are saying that they are actually having a problem surviving in the industry, mental wise. Yeah, especially on mental health. It's
Mhm.
really not doing good on many people, especially those who are joining the media and are still fresh in the industry. What is it? Is it that those people who are older in the industry are not really willing to receive the young ones and guide them through?
Thank you, Cedric, for that. Yeah, I concur with you that uh, the media industry really has been, it's really difficult, especially for a fresh graduate to penetrate through, especially to the mainstream media. And we've had these cases. There are so many situations that really trigger cognitive dissonance to an extent that it pushes someone to commit whatever DJ Lithium did, but it's something that is preventable. One of these things, they range from as little as just a greeting saying hi in the morning when you clock into the office, And we also have people who also uh, do have there is positive criticism, because it's through this criticism that you are able to grow. Personally,
Yeah.
I take that positively. But there are people who really have this kind of criticism that really sounds nasty, or just uh, targeting you, or trying to bring you down and tell you, hey, listen here, buddy, you're just a fresh graduate from the university. You've got nothing to tell us. And then also we have these unethical and harmful attitudes towards the fresh graduates and interns. I read there's a post that someone tweeted actually, and he was like, interns are just they're just employees, because they are offering something. In fact, so many organizations, especially public organizations, make good use of interns. So when someone looks down upon you and you feel like, so you mean I don't have anything to offer to this organization? So another thing, in the media industry, more than any other industry, it has been rocked by allegations that uh, women cannot really make it through until they have to carry some sort of favors with their uh, maybe the senior staff members. I don't know how much that is true, but maybe we can delve deep into it, because I've interacted with some people who really attest to the fact that these people actually want to prey on them before they can allow them to climb that ladder up there.
Yeah.
So many things that really affect the interaction. You find that conflicts are rife. A very slight provocation, it just sparks an outburst, which is not what's not supposed to happen. Another thing, when once you graduate, everyone has got their own goals and expectations. So you plan that maybe in the next 2 3 years, I would like to be maybe a news anchor somewhere in the mainstream media. In the next 6 years down the line, I would like to be in an international television station or any other channel. But because of these forces that really trample on you, and you cannot really find your way up there, some people really give up easily. But then my advice to them is that there are so many opportunities, especially with the digitization of airways. For instance, what you are doing right now, Cedric, that's self-employment. It might take quite a while for you to reap the fruits, but in the end, you are doing something, you are impacting on people's lives positively, you are doing something for yourself. You do not really need to depend on a mainstream media solely, as if your life really depends on it. Without it, still, with whatever you are doing, you can make an impact, and you can find yourself somewhere better, or be a tad better than even those whom you feel like they're suppressing your efforts and discouraging you. So whatever happened at Capital FM is really unfortunate. That's
Yeah.
something that could have been prevented. And if only he found the time to talk to someone, and if only those who were close to him would have taken time to try and observe, discern any change in behavior, attitude, and try to find help for them.
Yeah, exactly. That's a very unfortunate thing for someone who has a promising future to just end their lives because of issues maybe they have had with themselves or with other people, because we actually don't know the exact reason. The law says that people are innocent until they are proven guilty, but on Twitter, you are
Absolutely.
always guilty.
You
On
are
Twitter, you are
guilty
always
until
guilty
proven innocent.
till you prove yourself innocent, because Kenyans on Twitter will come for you with their own evidence. They will do their own investigations and judge you.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate. It happens, and then we don't get to the bottom of what the real issues are. So, speaking of that, workplace relations and workplace behavior, let's talk about this young person who is just getting into an employment. You have talked about the mistreatment that happens, or the what seems to be mistreatment, because sometimes you are mistreated, sometimes you just see as though you are being mistreated because
Absolutely.
of because of the situation in which you are. So how is someone who is young and just getting into unemployment supposed to behave personally, and then to react to how others who are already in the job are behaving towards them?
Thank you, Cedric, for that. Yes, as you said, some of us are just really paranoid. And as I mentioned, people are different. We react differently. You might crack a joke to me, and I take it negatively and personally.
Exactly.
And another person might take it like, yes, it's just a joke. Could be you are serious, yes, but you put some laughter in it, brush it off, and move on, because we are brought up in different setups and different orientations. So when you come at a workplace, it's something that links you up with the mission and the goals of this company. So there's always organizational culture, always. So whenever you go there, don't assume or place everyone under the veil of ignorance. There's that professional, there's a house culture and a organizational culture generally. So try as much as possible to ensure that you maintain that professional kind of communication, unless you are out for a coffee date, or you're just maybe driving back home with a friend. That's a whole different situation and different context. And then some of us, the context also affects how someone reacts to the message that you send to them. Say, for instance, if you are there with your friends, Akina Cleophas and others, alafu I crack a joke. There's that. How will these people think about that? This is something. How does it come across to other people? So it's also contextual. So if you, as a fresh graduate, you're trying to find your way into the media, first try to understand that people are different. There are different personalities. Do not let a single thing really get into you and take the better part of you. Whatever someone says, whether it's a criticism, because I remember at some point I was at one, I went for an interview in one of the mainstream media house. So I was doing a voice test in the production section. Then someone came in and was like, "Oh, but I saw you in another interview. You can't be a jack of all trades." You see, I did not take it personal. I just laughed it off, and that was it. So take it easy. You do not need to be really over, like,
Overthinker.
everything with whatever that is being mentioned. Do not let it sink into you, because it's going to affect how you relate even with the next person who might even be supportive. So welcome positive criticism, and whoever criticizes you, just talk to them well. Another
Yeah.
thing also, look for people who really motivate you apart from criticism. There's one thing that communication experts mentioned, the Rogerian method. Before you tell someone this thing is not good, you should have done it this way, first give a commendation to their work. Hey, young man, hey, young lady, you did well here. Great job. So what? But in the next episode or in the next assignment, kindly make sure you do A, B, C, D. you know so that one comes a little bit friendly, and well, it's good. Someone welcomes it, they might smile before they get to hear the other negative aspect of it all.
Exactly. And before we proceed, there are so many people who are tuned in and sending some of the sentiments as well as questions. Just if
Mhm.
we can go through some of them. Salimia Asasha Elizabeth, that's Joseph Kagunda Mwangi is tuned.
Umesalimika.
Okay, and best star prof always tuned into our show, saying sometimes we are afraid to lose a job. Manze, times are really, really tough. So you try to cope up just to make ends meet. Moreover, stress is a home peer in elevate. Thanks, Eliza, for educating.
I really
Jail Empire has a question, I guess. Can drugs and sex help mental sickness? Because when you are drunk and high, you forget all your worries. Can drugs and sex help mental sickness? Because when you are drunk and high, you forget all your worries.
That's quite hilarious. Would you like me to respond to that, or
Yeah, actually respond. I think it's a question. Yeah, you can respond.
okay? I think that's a deluded kind of thinking, because in fact, drugs and excessive alcoholic consumption is one of the signs and symptoms of a mental health disorder. So when you start being an overly out, having emotional outbursts and consuming excessive consumption of alcohol and other substances, it doesn't help. Personally, I think this is just a temporary thing. It's an like, you use it as an to escape, or to escape from reality. But in the end of it, once you get sober, all these problems are still there glaring at you. So the best thing to do is to handle this situation as it is. It can never, drug and sex has never and will never be a remedy or an antidote to any given type of mental disorder or mental health disease. It can never, in any case, because if maybe it's a financial situation, you go drink yourself up, people rob you of everything, including your phone that you'd have used to ring or call your friend to help you out. You're just escalating the situation instead of solving it.
Yeah, thank you very much for that response, because as you are saying, you just have to face the issue head on than try and run away using alcohol and drugs. And in some instances, actually, people get drunk because they are broke. I don't know what kind of math that is. And alcohol itself is expensive. So,
One thing in Nairobi, as well as many other cities, Cedric,
yeah,
someone can buy you alcohol, but they cannot buy you food, and they cannot give you a coin. So alcohol will always be readily available. So even don't be surprised when a broke person comes back home stupefied. It's because alcohol, someone can give you, can buy you even how many bottles of alcohol, 10 or 20 of them. But if you ask for money or anything in exchange for that, they won't be able to give you. They'll
yeah.
only, yeah, they'll only buy you the liquor, and that's it.
Yeah, that's as sad as it gets. We have Don Applejack, that's our producer there. He's back after a long time, all the way from India, tuned from Kochi. Recently, I saw the police service decided to give mental health insurance to the police fraternity. Do you think this will help, or something more should be done? Should we start addressing mental health at early stages for teens? How do we protect the new generation for this pandemic of mental suicide? Kisungu tupu. So, just attempt to answer that. He has several questions in there.
Yeah, there I can see at least two questions right there. Mental health in the police force. There's a story I did with one of the special and most revered unit of GSU, that's the Reke Squad. And to my surprise, I realized that yes, they have a unit that deals with mental health, but it's not fully functional. We do not need structures. We need efficiency. We need effectiveness. We need, when someone comes there with their issue, you are able to help them. You are able to walk with them through their healing journey and make sure that they are safe and free from self harm or harming others. Cases of our police officers shooting themselves and shooting their houses, engaging in violent behavior. You know, at some point, or maybe some years back, people like police officers were considered to be really people who are strong and people who are reason logically. who are not supposed to be really engaged in such heinous acts. But things have changed right now. Why? Because even a police officer is not immune to mental health conditions. They are not immune. That's what I keep on telling people. Even that doctor who treats you, he's not immune to mental health disorders. Even the leaders right now who are politicking, they are not immune. So everyone is susceptible, and at any given point in life, you'll find yourself suffering from any form of mental health disorder. But the only thing is that you have to take it positively. You're not the only one, and you're not the last one to go through this. And you'll get to a point after healing, you'll realize that honestly, why was I even behaving like this? Sometimes I sit and I ask myself, why did I try to harm myself? What if I died out of it? So you feel like whatever you're doing was really silly, and there was really something out of it. But you can never blame someone, because whatever they feel at that point in time is always inexplainable. The only thing you can try is try to help them or support them.
Yeah.
So do you think this will help or something? Yeah, we really needed to ensure that there are effective units that really look into, especially the police officers. These people, Cedric, are exposed. Can you imagine every quarry accident, all these images that are censored and you're told they are not supposed to be posted anywhere? The police officers or the CID who go there, they are the first people to see the scenes apart from the witnesses. So you can imagine the kind of images that go through. They are all people, human beings. So they also try to cope. In fact, they should try, if there's any profession that they should invest in the mental health more and seriously, it's the police units
Yeah.
and the medical field. These people really
Exactly.
try their best, and they find themselves in very difficult situations. So there's need also to research more on alternative means of therapies and mental health counseling and services. Make them available. Link these people up with other mental health facilities, because they would be willing to open up to someone who is not linked to them than a person who knows them personally.
Yeah.
Issues of privacy. Yeah. So should we
Yes.
start addressing mental health at an early stages for teens? How do you protect the new generation from this pandemic of mental health? Yes, absolutely. Because I think you can attest to the fact that there has been reports of teenagers, a child as young as 9 years old, 12 years old, penning down a suicidal note and ending their lives. People who are full of life, they're not suffering from any kind of illnesses, just a slight misunderstanding with the parent, and they decide to commit suicide. It's really worrying, it's devastating. So there is really need to start these conversations early enough. Sensitization, victim identification. Sometimes people say even the people who live with that child or someone who commits suicide, they are also surprised. We did not know. He didn't seem like he was going to through anything difficult. There is needed to start this conversation as early as possible, so that kids can grow to understand. They can grow up knowing that whenever you feel that you've hit the dead end, that's not the reality. There's always a solution, and that's why some of us are bringing up these conversations to make sure that we bring on board people who have been through these traumatizing ordeals, natural or man-made catastrophes, to make sure that those who watch, they are able to tell. It could be they are going through this a similar situation, or maybe a different one, or even worse. But still, there's hope. They'll see that in the end, there are people who pull through and become sober in the end.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, around here, mental health has the biggest effects on people, but then it's the way it's being treated is like it's a new thing, and it's not being addressed as it should be. Someone might be sick of a cold, and they will rush to hospital very fast. But when they start having issues with mental health, they don't think that that's something that is as urgent as just your physical health, the way you are supposed to address it when you are sick from something else. That's something that people need to be taught, that mental health is equally important and should be taken care of.
Absolutely. It's because of the stigma and the victimization that is associated with mental health. So people really feel reluctant to open up and speak about how they feel, because they feel they'll be shunned, or maybe people will start calling them lunatics or something. It's just as maybe you might have a sprain on your foot or a headache and you seek people's attention. It doesn't make a difference. And then the World Health Organization revealed that the people aged 15 and 29 years have been drastically affected by mental health conditions, especially depression, with an estimate of over 300 million people worldwide living with depression. So this one tells us that really this situation is dire, and we really need to ensure that we find ways and interventions to make sure that we address this issue, to mitigate cases of suicide, cases of homicide, and violent behavior that really turn out to be lethal, not just to the economy, but also it endangers the future generation.
Yeah, exactly. And as we proceed, before I get back to a few questions from our audience, nimeona kuna mtu mahali amesema Kiswahili chako kitamu, lakini mbona hatukizungumzi kwa sasa? Hey, mimi hapo kwa Kiswahili bana bado. So let me try and ask this other. Actually, it's a concern. Pale social media watu wanaharakishwa na soft life. Soft life to an extent, what mtu hawezi ona like behind that soft life yenye wanaona pale kwa screen ya simu yao kuhusu watu wengine, behind it there is a whole lot of stress that people are going through. So watu wengi, actually mostly youths, were teenagers and millennials as well, wanahangaishwa sana na hii soft life ya watu wengine. So mtu anajipata anasikia ni kama he or she is very much alone. Watu wengine labda wako mbele yake zaidi, watu wana enjoy maisha huku nje na yeye things are not going good as well. So tafadhali tusaidie na hii issue ya soft life ya watu wengine, inapatia watu stress vibaya sana.
Usiwahi kudanganyika na story ya soft life kwa social media, my dear. Kwa ground, things are different. Things are different. I can post a picture smiling before in front of a TX. That doesn't mean, could be I don't even own that TX, honestly, or a V8. So don't be deluded into thinking that this girl has made it in life. So one thing that young people need to understand: never compare yourself with another person's life. That will always create that bitterness. You'll feel less. You'll always try to blame yourself, and all your villagers around, they are the ones who are blocking your blessings. Actually, in reality, if you were to weigh between that person you think that has made it in life, could be they have too much problem compared to yourself. Could the things they are grappling with are you cannot even sustain for a single day. We all have a skeleton in our closets. It's only that we try to suppress them, and then social media brought up this thing that you have to really appear good. Haven't you seen there's a case whereby a couple really looked happy, they had gone for a vacation, then a week later there was a murder case reported. one
Yeah.
one of them murdered another person. That's the just a case scenario, one in so many other cases. So do not use social media uh, as a way to try and uh, and benchmark yourself in terms of performance or in terms of growth. Just be yourself. compete against yourself. Set your own standards, set your own goals, tell yourself this is where I would like to be and work towards it without necessarily looking at other people. Just like these figures, they are not the same. Haziko sawa, hazitoshani. So in a situation, in every community, in every than you, and you'll find a person who is forward to be where you are right now. Oh, and the way I really wanted. So do not use social
You are breaking. You're breaking a bit.
seed with your life.
Yes. Hey, what are people saying here? I have learned something from the guest. Thank you. That's JK. Kagigo Mwalida anasema vipi? Hiki kipindi kisiishe bila Asasha kuzungumza Kiswahili hata sentensi moja. Kagigo ndugu toka Tanzania.
Nimekusikia Kagigo Mwalida.
Yeah, very, very true, Asasha. That's Don Applejack also say at drugs and sex, I think hazita help jamani. Hiyo ni starehe, sio matibabu.
Kabisa, hebu mwambie.
Don. Aya, Kagigo naye pia amejikakamua hapa na Kiingereza. How can organizational culture mentally affect members ama new employee akiwa bullied?
How can an organization affect members ama new employee akiwa bullied? Are they two questions in one? How can an organizational
culture mentally affect members? Members ama
a friendly or conducive working environment is key and crucial to the performance and to the overall success of the company's or the organizational goals. So some of these cultures are really, I would say, they are retrogressive. Let me say, for lack of a better words, yes, they are retrogressive, and some of them are harsh to people. For instance, when you are the manager and you do not really have clear lines of communication, you are never available. You do not appreciate feedback. Remember, employees, they are not. It doesn't mean that they are less cognitively or they cannot reason. Some of them would have a very great ideas that could really push you far if you give them time and listen to them. There is leaders or supervisors or bosses really like to boss around and they really don't give employees time. They do not listen to them. That's another culture that can really affect an employee. So they feel inadequate. There's no way they can air their grievances. There's no way they can contribute towards something because the reason why there are meetings, regular meetings in organizations, it's to review the performance, to be able to listen to them. What do you think? Where did we fail this week? What do you think we can do to make sure that next time we improve on this aspect? So don't be a leader who just impose their decisions on the employees. Be a leader who allows inclusivity, delegate work, make sure that they can have their own conversations, they can report to you. You can also create time and have a meeting with the employees. Another thing is unfair policies and unequal enforcement of policies. Some kind of policies can really be harsh and they can affect, especially in terms of salary increment. Let me use that example. You find that you've been working for this organization for the past 3 or 4 years, but your entry salary bado yuko hapo tu. You do your best. You try go out of your way to even do some other tasks that are not within your job description, but still nobody notices. This one is linked to employee motivation. We usually have a motivational aspects of work. try and get to motivate your employees. That's why some organizations have a employee of the week or of the month, and they also have those who are gone out of their way maybe to do something, a task, they are also awarded. So these little things really matter, and if they are not there, really it can affect the employees. And this other thing that really very few organizations consider is finding time out of work to have these get-togethers, team building activities. They are really helpful in as
Yeah.
far as the mental health of employees is concerned. So whenever you are there, ensure that the welfare, the people department is really resourceful to make sure that you avoid these things, to avoid conflicts and conflicts of interest, all that things that arise when someone feels really inadequate or shortchanged or not valued at all. They have nothing to bring on board. Always make sure that employees are valued. And I'm a new employee akiwa bullied.
Yeah.
New
And
employee,
yes.
I think there are channels that you can follow when you are a new employee and you feel like someone is trying to underrate you or belittle you somehow. There are some approaches that you can take. You can decide to talk to the supervisor. You can talk, the supervisor can take it on there with the other departments, maybe the disciplinary departments. This is the same case that applies with sexual harassment at work. So do not sit there and become bitter. It's going to affect your performance. It's going to affect your relationship with other employees, and people that will start feeling that you are actually the issue, when in actual sense your first impression of the person you met first was really negative.
Yeah. And who else is talking here? We have PG, Peter George Kahugi, is saying he's watching from Ruiru. Asasha, tumia Kiswahili kindly. I have missed your Swahili. Kiswahili
What is all this with Swahili, surely?
itabidi tuzungumze Kiswahili kwa umbali. Tukiwa pale kwenye Kiswahili, kuna watu wanajipa pressure, just going back close to what we were talking about, social media and stuff. Watu wanajipa pressure pia wenyewe pia wanapewa pressure na society, especially watu wenye bado wako youthful, stories to do with the relationships. Maybe kuna mtu amekuwa na mwingine, and I know this a little bit outside what we are discussing. Kuna mtu amekuwa na mwenzake pale, akaonyeshana kwa wazazi, akaonyeshana kwa marafiki zake, mtandao umejaa picha, alafu sasa inafika mahali ambapo hawasikizani. They both don't feel like they belong together, but now inabidi wameanza kufanya ile wanasema forcing issues, because mtu ako concerned watu watasemaje, social media yote imejaa picha zetu, alafu pia society nayo inapatia ma youth pressure, anaambiwa kijana harakisha bana, tunakungoja vibaya sana. So hiyo issue ya pressure hiyo side
Jamani.
mani bana.
Okay. Now, what I'd say is learn to accept rejection. Young people, I've already said it in my conversation in as far as love triangle issues, love triangle gone sour issues emerge. Always approach everything, professional or social, with an open mind. Anything can happen, just as the law of anything states. Anything can happen at any time. So
Yeah.
when you go there, expect anything. It doesn't matter how many years you've been together. People have divorced and been there, been married for decades. Hmm? Bill Gates ndio wale divorced. And people are asking, kwani without financial issues ndio usababisha watu waachane, watengane? Hapana.
Sababu ya kukosa kutuma fare.
kukosa kutuma fare na kununua nini cheap.
Na Valentine's ndio hiyo nakaribia.
So approach life with an open mind. If someone feels like, don't force issues. If someone feels like you do not really compliment them anymore, they don't see your value in life, leave. Instead of one of you living in a casket and another one ending like you are exchanging government buildings, another one going to the morgue and the other one going to jail. It doesn't have to get that ugly. Mm. So yes, another thing you can do is maintain a low profile. See, people who are really affected so much by breakups, ni wale watu who are all over social media. They're these perfect couples, power couples. So when things happen, they really try to make sure that iko chini ya maji. Hawataki watu wengine wafahamu kwamba wametengana. Unaona? Ambalo ni jambo hufanyika ndio kwa hii karne ya sasa. Najua Biblia inasema kwanza wale ambao wameoana kwa ndoa, sijui dini inasema mfai kuachana, ndio, lakini inafikia mahali pia unaangalia, je, maisha yako na huo uamuzi wa kusalia hapo uendelee kukandamizwa, unachagua moja, kushuka au kunyoa? Yeah, so you really need to use your mind, you need to use your brain. Disillusionments are normal. How many times Cedric has applied for a job, for instance, ama umeingia pale inbox ukaslide inbox ya yule DM crush wako ukamwambia hey, nakakublutika akaendelea
akaendelea na life ni kama hakuna kitu ilifanyika.
Kama hakuna kitu imefanyika, sio? So just take life easy.
Yeah.
This is life. Yeah, you just live once. At some point you might harm yourself, and then later on you realize, when looking back, you're like, really, why was I even tied to this person? You feel like you are totally two different people. So I really wonder when teenagers and young people, those who are in campus, end up or turn against each other, hacking each other to death because of love is not working. I don't consider this love, because if you claim to love someone, you'll always want the best for them, whether you are in their life or not. Just live your life and move on with life. There's no need to harm another person because they feel they don't love you anymore. They don't have any other feeling for you anymore.
Yes, and we have someone here that seems, that's Ashish Naraya, and anything I have delayed on reading that a name. Anything for the people who work like 11 to 12 hours a day, usually salespeople. What can you suggest apart from changing the job? How such people can help themselves mentally? People who work like 11, 12 hours a day. Do you suggest they change their job, or how can they survive mentally with those long working hours?
Wow. Long working hours, unfortunately, it's part of us in this era that we are in. Recently, I came across someone who works as a butcher during the day and a security guard at night. So I was surprised and asked him, why? Why do you do that? What time do you need time to rest? It's good for your health. But they're like, yes, I try to squeeze in time and rest. So this person has like a schedule, and he sat down with the employers and agreed maybe for 3 consecutive weekdays, they work and then they rest 2 days and they proceed. So you can always try and talk to your employer. You do not need really to break your back trying to make ends meet, because in case of a salesperson, unaweza kuzunguka uzunguke wewe na hizo vitu na urudi hauna client. So make plan well. Look at what kind of strategies work well for you. You can even work 2 or 3 days, and you see that you earn even more than when you work for the whole week, and you end up some other days you just there walking around, you'd not even get to convince one client to sign up for a cover, for instance, for an insurance company. So it
Exactly.
always narrows on how you plan yourself, and also talk to your employer, tell them this is I think this can work for me, then try really to fulfill what you promise. If you promise I'm going to be working from Monday to Thursday, and I resume on maybe on Saturday partly, and I believe I take this number of hours, make sure you commit to that, because if you don't, you're going to destroy your reputation, and also you'll break the trust they have in you.
Indeed, this is an amazing discussion we are having here, and there are so many concerns, but time is also not being very kind to us. It's running very fast, so we will just have to take it home because the time has gone. But maybe we can organize another time and have another session on mental health. Winnie Nyokabi is tuned in. Thanks, Winnie, for tuning into our discussion tonight. Nice show. That's Kevin Amzil tuned in from Nairobi. Thank you for everyone who is watching the show. And we need to take this home. I think we will organize for some time and have another discussion, an extension of the same. So, Sasha, you will take this home for us and just tell us or that person who is treating mental health like exhaustion. They think that this is just something that you will sleep over, and then by tomorrow when you wake up, you will be fine. One episode goes, another episode comes, they sleep over it. What would you tell such a person who is avoiding solving issues to do with mental health?
Procrastination is the thief of time, and it can be the thief of your health and ultimately your life. You need to take a step, a bold step, take a day, 2, 3, a week, or a month off, rest. Watu wanasema mwili hauna spare parts. You exhaust yourself, whether it doesn't matter how much you are earning, it doesn't matter the title you hold. When you go, when you die, that place is going to be replaced. Whether it's your own organization, whether you just an employee. So first, your health is a priority. Seek help whenever possible. Make sure you make positive friendship and relationships, so that these people can really stand for you and with you whenever you need them. But above all, make sure that whatever you go through, whether it's fatigue, whether it's depression, whether it's post-traumatic stress disorder, or any other mental health disorder, just be sure that there is a solution to it. You just need to find someone to confide in, that one person. There are organizations that really offer free services, counseling services. I know a few of them. There are those which offer services confidential on anonymity basis. You can still talk to them if you wouldn't want to reveal your identity out of fear of ridicule or stigma. But find help. If you need rest, take that rest. It's very important for your performance and your productivity in the end. Finally, always smile like I do, whatever happens. You never know. There's a smile at a stranger and you could just save a life.
Exactly. So we keep smiling despite whatever we go through, and we address the mental health issues right on time. And I can see time is gone. Sasha, thank you very much for actually honoring our invitation at the Alternative Voice. It's been a while. We've been looking for you. You are very hard to come by, Sasha.
I know, but I'm here today.
Yeah, finally. Thank you. And we hope to find some other time for an extension of this or maybe another conversation on the same. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for those of you who have tuned in to this amazing discussion. Please follow the alternative voice for our new for those who are watching us for the first time. I invite you friends to follow the alternative voice and also follow our news updates and also our updates on trending topics of the week, which we shall be putting up them for you online. Thank you. It has been great. See you next Thursday, same time, same place. Bye bye.